In this episode, we are joined by our good friend Thad Mangalino. He's a writer for the Philippine Times and a performance coach. We talk about mindset, Philippine culture, and many other things. Tune in now to our full conversation. So when you guys are ready, we are locked in, we are live, and we are recording.
We are recording, we're rolling.
Let's do it.
So the start of the Okiru podcast, for the past couple of months now, we've found the need and the desire to start with a meditation, and it began very intuitively. When we record, it brings a lot of pressure, right? The lights are on, the cameras are in action, and the mics are all recorded. So to take away that pressure, we've been inviting our guests to sit and breathe with us. So when you're ready, when you're comfortable, I invite you to find a comfortable seat wherever you are. Inviting you to close down your eyes and to find a seat. Find a seat that you can rest in. Recognizing the ground underneath your feet. How the chair is holding your body up. Your back resting on the chair. And now taking a moment to recognize your breath, wherever it may be. Feeling the sensations of your inhale enter your nose and giving you life. Our body receives breath unconsciously. But when we tap into the power of the breath, we're able to access a new power. So feel your breath enter your nose through your body. Can you recognize the temperature of the air as it enters your nose? Is that cool air? Or is it warm? And how about the air when it leaves your nose through an exhale? What's the temperature of that? In meditation, we often find our thoughts enter our minds. And that's very natural. Allow them to be. Allow them to come. And know that they will go. So as you sit here, find in your own body and in your presence, how can you find maybe a 10% more effort or effort to relax a little more. Find 10% to relax a little more. We often hold a lot of tension in our face. How can you relax a little more in your face? Relax your jaw. We often unconsciously bite and clench our jaws and hold a lot of tension there. Relax your jaw. Another point where we hold tension is through the eyebrows. Relax your eyebrows and the position in your face in that area. So as you continue breathing, as you continue inhaling consciously through your nose, and as you breathe in this beautiful life force that we all share, appreciate your body receiving such a miracle of life. And as you exhale, recognizing your body expelling any anxieties, any tension, any unwanted things in your life, and just letting that go. Our bodies are incredible machines, incredible biological machines. And purely, it's a miracle. And we can tap into the power of the breath anywhere and at any time. So now I invite you to take 3 deep breaths through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. And when you are ready, I invite you to just slowly blink open your eyes and maybe just looking around the room and looking at the room with intention and receiving new sights, observing how maybe the light enters the room. Maybe notice some features that you've never seen before. These really all live in the present moment.
Good morning. Wow. Thank you, Lim, for that meditation.
That's all good. I'll let you both take it from here. And look,
Thanks
I'll
for that, man.
sit
That's
on
really
this-
soothing. I got to take a sip of my coffee. Wake up.
Yeah, me too.
That was good.
How was that for you? And, tell us about your practice with meditation.
Really good, man. I really appreciate that. Thanks for that. That was good.
Yeah.
While I was in trance, I was thinking, I think every time you buy a hoodie, you should get a CD
All right.
of him meditating.
I think we should.
I reckon you should. I was thinking,
Maybe.
this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know when we started this, but I think every time we've started these conversations with it, whenever you come here, you might start feeling tired from everything that you've been doing throughout the day, the weekend. But then when you sit down and you start the conversation just by pausing, taking a break, focusing on your breath, I think it relieves you of all those things that you're feeling and brings you back to this present moment. So yeah, please tell us.
100%. Yeah. Well, we before we started recording, we were talking about meditation, and yeah, I do it a lot.
Yeah,
I do it a lot. I used to listen to CDs or put them on my phone and let it play through. But I find that when it's finishing, when it's time to finish, they count you back up. If you wake up refreshed, and 2 a.m, I'm feeling wake up and refreshed, so I can't go back to bed. And so what I do now is, it works. It's good.
Yeah.
What I do now is I just put the sound of the waves on my phone.
Yeah.
And at night, and I just visualize until I visualize myself to sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that works really well. With my kids, 12 and 9, I play. They have speakers in their room.
Yeah.
I play either an audio book or a visualization exercise.
Right.
So for them, I don't know if it works for them, but at least getting them started, because let them visualize, and they visualize themselves to sleep, and I think it's worked for them. At least it calms them down, and they.
With these audiobooks, do you put like a specific motivational or personal development book?
There's one. The one that I put earlier was a Law of Success, Napoleon Hill.
Right.
So that's like 18 hours.
Yes.
And so I put it on one time, and my son was going, "Oh, the book's still going."
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be dreaming the success in their mind, man.
Law of Success. And then there's a few ones that I found, some mental strength stuff, and there was one I found for my son specifically, affirmation, Kobe Bryant quotes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really good. And he goes, "Dad, it's repetitive." I said, "It's good, so it sinks in."
Yeah.
Sinks into your mind. And then my daughter does some visualization stuff that helps her with her taekwondo and helps her go to sleep.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's great that with Kobe Bryant, it's repetitive because you don't always want something new, right?
That's right, yeah.
And I think it's having that repetitiveness gives you grounding and principle, right? Because you want to have, isn't that what discipline is to have repeating things, not have new things all the time.
Exactly.
So, look, you read a lot of books and you put audiobooks on. Is there any specific books that has stood out to you that has helped you on your journey?
Wow. Early in the journey, Magic of Thinking Big.
David I read
Schwartz.
that while book. Yeah,
that's good.
Great book.
I used to read that once a year.
Really?
Yeah, once a year. It's such a good book, man.
It's a great book.
It's a great book, and now they got it on audio as well.
Yeah,
so I got that on audio. Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz.
I think I've heard of it, but I never got it on my list.
I'm going old school. I'm going Old Testament here.
Right.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Maxwell Maltz, of course,
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill.
And what else? Zig Ziglar stuff is really good too.
Yeah.
Zig Ziglar's because they were the ones that got me into the journey of self-discovery, self-development that got us to here.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to dive into that because that journey for me has only been recent, and books has helped me a lot. So where did you start this personal journey, and how did you get here?
how did I get here? Well, it all started back, I guess, in early teens. Early teens, I was looking for models, like models to follow, to look up to, and whatnot. And who's the models that I have? Ice Cube, Ice T, Michael Jordan. Because I was listening to hip hop music and wanting to be a basketball player, playing a lot of basketball. But I realized that there are good things in books. And then I started, looking at books, and actually it was a book that helped me with my studies because I wanted to do well in school. But I'm thinking, how can I be good at learning, trying to be a better learner?
Yes.
And so I picked up this book. I think it's called You Can Do It, and it talks about goal setting, how to review what you've done at school and whatnot. I got the goal setting part done, but the part about school and revision, it didn't really work because I didn't do too well in my Year 12 exams and stuff like that.
Me too, man. Me too. I'm in the same boat, man. Don't worry.
And so, but it got me thinking about goal setting.
Yes.
And there was one thing that stood out about, look, what would my life look like when I'm 40? And this is when I was 15 years old. And then I started writing down what I don't want. It's not, I don't know. It's weird because, you write down what you want. I want a Lamborghini. I want this. I want all that. But I wrote down what I don't want.
Yeah, dude. I think that's a great way to start, right? Having all these wants and desires, the list can be massive.
That's right.
But I think what the don'ts do is add parameters around your life, and I think that helps with the goal setting and objectives. And actually, what I've been doing lately is you'll be seeing it on our page is I've been doing a lot of more solo videos and sharing what I've learned and my story and journey. And the most recent one I've written down is goals and processes, because it's so important to have those things, because in those times when you are feeling lost and you don't know where to go, it grounds you. And I'm trying to make things as easy as possible for me. So for me, I've been doing this rule of thirds. Try to do everything in threes. Anything more than that, it's a bit too much. But when you have three, you have enough options, but not too many where you get overwhelmed. So for me, I broke it down. Processes and goals is you have your objectives and goals. You have your tasks. And obviously you're going to do them, so you don't have to worry about that. But the third one is review, like you said, right? And that's a tough one because you have to be so honest with yourself. You have to be truthful with yourself, because if you aren't, you're not going to grow. You're not going to learn. You're not going to develop to be a better person. So look, I think it's important to have those things. Do you have a certain foundation for yourself that you've created that helps you in those times when you are feeling lost? Do you have a process?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
I pray.
Yeah.
Jeez, I need help. Who's listening? So I'll go back. I've got a thing called a hit list.
A hit list?
A hit list. Hit list, HIT.
Yeah.
I write that myself. As you can see, I've got my little book there. I just write things a lot. Because to me, if you don't write it down, it's not real.
100%.
Be it a goal or whatever. So I have that book everywhere. If I don't have it, I have it on my phone, like notes. Yeah. Because inspiration is everywhere, and there's always learning opportunities.
No doubt.
I'll be listening to after that, I met you gentlemen at the Pinoy Entrepreneurs thing. I saw something on the wall, and I'm like, that's good. Actually, and I'm not going to write that. I'm going to take a photo of it. That kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, wow, that's something, and that's something that I can adapt and learn from. So my hit list is a list of what I need to do, what I need to accomplish, and with a timeline.
Right.
And so I'll go back to that. So if I'm going straying away from what I'm supposed to be doing, I'll go back and go, oh, man, I wrote this. I wrote this. I need to get this, because it's not for me. It's for the future generation.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
So is this stuff that you impart to others with your coaching as well?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
So how did you get into coaching?
Well, I first started as a personal trainer
Right.
back in 1997.
Yeah.
Man, you guys weren't even born then.
I was a little baby, man.
You
I
were a
was like-
toddler. You were a toddler. So what happened was, I started working as a personal trainer over at Endeavour Hills Leisure Centre in the southeast, and I started training clients, and I noticed that I've got opportunity to help them not only lose their weight but also change their life. And so this is at the same time that I was reading Napoleon Hill and doing all these things and so forth. So all the stuff that I've learned and adapted to my own life, I started putting into training.
Yeah.
And then results are going through the roof.
Yeah.
People are saying, hey, I need to train with you. I need to do this with you, and so forth. And it started from there. And then I said, hey, maybe I can do more. So I started researching things, trying to get qualified with coaching and doing all these other modalities to help others. And it started from there. And
So pretty much you were training people in the physical aspect, but while you're doing that, you're training their mind as well, using these practices and learnings as well, right? That's beautiful. And I think with my personal journey, just thinking about it, sometimes you have to start somewhere. And I think your physical health is one of the biggest places to start, right? And by doing that, by exercising and doing things to better your body, in turn, your mindset develops to something better as well, because you're training your mind, right? You're training your mind to push through the struggle, the difficulty, to even go one step further, right? Can you do that one more rep? Can you challenge yourself with a new exercise to kind of change things up? Because obviously we can get so into a routine that it becomes mundane.
That's right.
As well. Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah. And so, it started seeing results. And then all of a sudden, can you speak to a group? Well, I don't talk to people. It started from there, consulting. And then I said, look, I need to go back and learn about business, because businesses are asking me to talk about it. So I went back to uni as a mature age student just to get that piece of paper, but also a thing for me as well, saying to myself that, hey, I'm smart enough to get into uni and graduate and stick to something. And so I started that, and just sacrificing time. I just like to do things the hard way. I should have just done it earlier, but I guess you got to go through some things to rediscover yourself.
Why do you like to do things the hard way?
Because I like to do things the easy way. And think this is the easy way, and I'm not going to do it. I'll do it later. This is the old me, right?
Yes.
And so I'll just do this. This is comfortable. This is easy. And then all of a sudden, man, I could have just done it. It's going to go there anyway. I should have just stood up and did it. So I don't know, it's just the old mindset that I had. And then it got to a stage where I was reading all these books, and I'm thinking, I had to stop myself. I'm thinking, you read all these books and you tell all these people, but look in the mirror, man. You got to apply it to yourself.
Bro, that hit me so hard.
Right? It's so true.
You
know, and like thinking, oh man, I got to do this. I'm yelling this, I'm yelling that, but look at me. I'm still, help me up kind of thing.
Exactly.
So sometimes you got to stop reading and take action, right?
100%. It's funny that you say that, because I used to work for an old friend of yours, Mr. Dion Bastian.
Hey,
right?
Shout out to Dion.
But he said the exact same to me. Right? He looked at our page, was like, oh, uplifting and inspiring others, and he's like, dude, you're such a hypocrite. I was like, oh, yes, I am. I am a hypocrite, man.
Sometimes you need to hear that.
And I was like,
yes,
dude. I was like, thank you for telling me that. And I remember that came out of a hard conversation, and it's true. Sometimes we are the biggest hypocrite, right? So, dude, I'm just thankful for that tough love. And I think we need that tough love as well.
You need people like that to tell you.
To tell you the hard truths.
Because it was like this. I was watching YouTube with my wife on the phone. There was a guy who said he sounded like Brian McKnight. He was doing an American Idol thing, American Idol show, and he was auditioning, and he said, and he's singing, he sounded terrible, and then he walked out, and then Paul Abdul, I think, said, well, what's going on? He goes, I can sing, I can really sing. I said, my family said I sound like Brian McKnight, and so they let him sing. He didn't sound like Brian McKnight. So that family, like, sometimes when they're trying to protect you and it actually hurts you. So you need to have those tough
Exactly.
conversations. Say,
Yeah.
hey, stop eating your fat. You know, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Have you always been like this, that you want to avoid, or not really avoid, but you're willing to go through the hard stuff? Or how did you develop that mindset? I need to experience the hard things so that it can be easier for me.
I had to do that myself. I realized later on in my early 20s
Yeah.
that you need to go through crap to see it. You know, you got to swim through it. You got to swim through it because it's not going to be easy life all the time.
Yeah.
And for some, it's great, but you're not going to be strong though. You got to go through the
Exactly.
You got to go through the elements to it's like weathering a cricket bat, right? You got to temper it and stuff. You got to before you can actually use it properly.
Yeah.
So you need to get beaten up and knocked down to realize that you still, there's room for more. There's always another round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a harsh reality, right? And I think you can only see it once you've gone through those hard things, that the hard things and suffering is necessary, right? It's like what you said, that's how you grow. That's how you become stronger. That's how you become tougher.
Yeah.
If you avoid those things, then you will continue to be weak in a way, and you won't be able to grow, man.
Yeah.
And I think it's all a part of the journey. So a friend of mine, he put it this way: life is like a heartbeat. It goes up and down. And if you in that middle, you're flatlining, you're dead.
Oh, that's so
right?
true, man.
And that hit me because we have to experience those ups and downs, and they will come eventually, whether we like it or not. So how are you going to get through it? So I think one of the most powerful questions that I've ever heard to ask someone when they're going through hard things is, what are you going to do about it?
Yep.
Right?
There's always a solution, man.
There's always a solution.
And nothing's permanent. Nothing's permanent.
Yeah.
There's always a way out. There's always another way around it.
Yeah.
And the good thing is it's your quest to find out how you're going to get through it, because when you get through it, at the end of it, you're going to be stronger, smarter, wiser, and you're going to have better stories.
Yeah. Hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You only figure out when you go through the journey and you reach a certain point, and then you look back, you reflect. It's like, oh man, I had to go through these things.
100%.
And then look, for us, this brand started from difficult times, hardships, right?
Yeah.
So for us, we rose up from them by supporting each other and really pushing through the suck, going through the hard things. But out of it came something beautiful, right? We're here today after almost 4 years doing these things and having conversations with people like yourself, right? So I don't know if you're open to talking about these things, but have you ever experienced any difficulty or suffering in your life that you have overcome, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, well, first it was financial stuff, man. It was a lot of financial stuff because I wasn't taught about money.
Oh man, yeah.
All right, so this is going to hit some of you guys because my growing up in the Philippines, and I think in the Filipino culture is when it comes to money, your parents keep it. They keep it for you. They keep it for you.
We're gonna save it for you.
Save it for you. And so when I was a kid, whenever I get a gift, Christmas, birthday presents and whatnot, I hated getting money.
Yeah.
Because I knew that my mom and dad, once they get it, they get their hands off it, I will never get it. So growing up, if I get money, like my Lola would give me some money, I would go to the sari store and just buy whatever I got. And so I grew up thinking, man, as soon as I get money, I'm going to blow it out, man. And so on my, I think 11th birthday, I got $100.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure if you remember, Footscray Station used to have an arcade place in front of Footscray Market.
Right.
So you used to have an arcade place. And so I had my $100 and I was playing the Ninja Turtle video game, and I wanted to see Shredder, man. I wanted to see Krang. So I put in, it was at the time it was 20 cents 40 cents to play. Yeah. And so can you imagine me thinking, oh man, all right, I'll continue again. I'll get change. I'll continue. Yeah. So I ended up blowing $100.
Wow.
On video games. To me, I was happy because it's something that well, it's not really good. I was happy because I got to play.
Yeah.
The other thing is my mom and dad's not going to touch this money.
Yeah.
It's my money. I got into deep trouble, man. I couldn't even get on the on the Commodore 64 for like 6 months to play because I was banned. But the thing is, the lesson there, I brought that on until in my early 20s. And so I started working as soon as I worked. And then next thing you know, I had a Dolomite account. Next thing you know, Commonwealth Bank gives you a credit card.
Yeah.
When you turn 18.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden, oh man,
I got money, man.
Those Jordans look good, man. Size 11s, size 12, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, it comes in a bread color. Oh, I'll have another one, man. All of a sudden, credit card debts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then I go, man, I got to take more clients. I got to do this. I got to do that. It's okay. I'll work, 17 hours to do that. And next thing you know, debt comes up. And then all of a sudden, man, that's no good. No. And so it got to a stage where, it was like people ringing you and stuff, right? And so it wasn't good. And so then I started reading, and then, you read Kiyosaki and all these other great books about finances and whatnot. And then you started relearning what you learned. And it was hard. And luckily my wife, man, she's God bless her, she's entered my life. She helped me turn it around, because she did her upbringing is different in regards to money and stuff. So we followed what she did, and then we used to do the envelope thing. I call it a creative accountant, right? And so all of a sudden we started, saving money, doing all this, and and it turned around. I don't have credit cards anymore. So I don't believe in them, like cut them up and stuff.
Exactly.
And so the way we're teaching our kids now is different to the way I was taught in regards to money. And so talking about the hardship and finances, it was, I went to the hit list, I sought out mentors. What I mean by mentors is trying to find out who to learn from, like Robert Kiyosaki and all those other finance books and stuff. My wife and I work together as a team. You say, okay, we need to do this. We need to do that, and work to be diligent and be disciplined with the way we're spending things. And then later on, just a few sacrifices. And I mean, I'm not rolling in it, but it's still the principles now. If I kept going the way I was going, it wouldn't have been good.
Of course. I'd be curious what you think of, where do you think that our parents get that mindset from, to take our money and to say we'll save it for you or whatever, because that's something I've been trying to think of. Like, I'm trying to understand where our parents learn these things. Is it through our culture?
It's cultural, man. I was thinking because my Lola was she grew up poor, and then the war hit, and then she got married, and my Lola died at a young age, leaving her to be a single parent with 3 kids under 6, trying to survive in the 50s. And back then women are supposed to be in the kitchen doing things, and so she had to find work and whatnot. And so I think in an overall sense of things, it's a cultural thing that. And plus the Filipino culture. I mean, sorry, listeners who are watching this. Your parents owns you. And then they got this thing called debt of gratitude, utang na loob, right?
Debt of
That's
gratitude.
it. That's a debt that you cannot repay. So they give that guilt on you,
bro,
saying, "Oh, you're my mom. You're
I'm your mother.
I'm your mother.
Father,
Ako tatay mo, ako nanay mo.
Yeah.
You got to do this." And so you, as a obedient child, you got to follow what. Man, I sound like a total grateful son, right?
No,
but it's so true. You cannot. That's one of those things that you cannot think. And they gaslight you, and they guilt you into doing that kind of stuff. And so what happens is, some of us are in, not rolling in wealth. So to them, they think that it's theirs. And it's your duty to work and work, and we look after you. Now you look after us.
Yes.
It's a tough one, man.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I was talking to this with Chef Fred, and how do we change that mindset, or how can we help our parents understand where we're coming from as well? And I think I experienced that, but I had the tenacity to be my own man, right?
Well
I've talked about this in our other podcast, but that experience for me allowed me to stand up for myself. And I think it's like we said, we are guilt tripped into having to respect our parents because they are our parents.
Yeah.
But I think respect comes, it's a two-way street, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to earn that
Yeah.
as well. I know you are my parents. I'm grateful for all the things that you've done, but I don't have to necessarily agree with everything that you are teaching and preaching.
That's right.
And for me, it was a very difficult decision because I was getting guilt tripped by everyone. And that's what happens in the Filipino culture, right? When it's your parents and then they start to attach themselves and they start to support them. There's nothing wrong with that. But then they start to get involved in your life. And it's like, bruh, like this is between my family and my parents, right? And yeah, I think it comes with having to go on your own journey and searching to find that you are responsible for your own life.
Exactly.
And I think selfishness is innate. We are all selfish in a way. And all our decisions have consequences. But we have to live with it. And if you can live with it, you've taken responsibility of your life.
That's right.
And it's hard for, for us Filipinos or even other Asian cultures to grow up in that mindset, because I like to believe that we hold on to these traditions that have been there majority of their life as well. And how can we, impart into younger people to take responsibility of their life, have the willingness to have these conversations with their parents and teach them these skills? Because for me, when that happened, it was a very rough road from myself and my parents.
I can imagine.
But like I say, it actually helped us to be closer.
Yeah.
And it comes through that difficulty of experiencing it.
Well, my father-in-law, God bless him, he's passed away now, but he said this to my wife, and he actually said it to myself. He goes, as a child, it's not your choice to be here, to be born here.
Yeah.
It's my role and responsibility to bring you up as best as I can, and I'm not expecting to pay you to pay me back, because my role is to help you succeed and get as best as you can. So his mindset is so good. So like with Max and Zoe, like I'm going to give him as best as opportunity as I can, but I'm not going to go to when I'm 60 and go, hey, I drove you to all these lessons and whatnot.
Exactly.
I took you this
it's
and
almost
that.
transactional, right?
Yeah, it's become transactional.
Yeah.
So to me, with them, I want them to be in the best opportunity, they can, so they can actually strive and reach their full potential. And that means the next generation is going to be a better in a better fit and better position. Whereas in some of the Filipino, some of the people in our culture, they're stuck with, they have a family, but they don't see them because they're overseas trying to look after someone else's kid.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But to me, I can't even stand overnight without my kids. I have to be there with them as best as I can. That's why I'm taking photos and videos all the time. So because I look back, man, my daughter's 12 years old now.
Yeah.
It's gone so fast.
Yeah.
And so, well, for us, I think it's got to be re-education. I think it's the generation now. We need to do that we don't have to, we model things. We model things from our parents and people around us.
Yeah.
We don't have to necessarily take that on board.
Of course. Yeah.
We just choose and pick and choose which one we have. And then so when it's your turn to have kids and you guide and mentor them, then you can do it.
Of course. Yeah. And look, I just want to preface that we come from a very privileged place. Look, we're here in Australia.
Oh man, totally.
We are so lucky, man. Like, as Lim says, we have the born lottery, is it? I think it is.
Yeah.
The birth lottery.
Yeah.
So we are very lucky. And I feel like it's a little bit of our responsibility to kind of, how can we help our people, our cultures to rise up as well?
What I find, man, is since that you mentioned birth lottery and being here at the right place at the right time, some of the people though don't use it to their full potential because I've noticed it. Even me, it happened to me. There's a thing called mediocrity, and what happens is mediocrity in Australia is different to mediocrity in the Philippines. Yeah. Can you imagine being mediocre in Manila? man, you die. Here, mediocre. If you're mediocre here in Australia, especially Melbourne,
We're very lucky.
You can still have your 3 meals a day,
Exactly.
and you can still have your Costco chicken, right? But it's totally different. But I guess some people who strive to get here, once they get here, they think, I can lounge back now and relax. But no, this is where you actually hustle harder and do it, because this is an opportunity for you to set yourself up, and also your grandkids to live a good life.
Yeah, exactly. And it's such a shame as well that sometimes, some of our families, they think, oh, you're in overseas, you're living wealthy, you're all good.
Yeah.
But man, we're struggling is just as bad.
Exactly.
It's
just
not
dollars,
easy.
man.
It's just dollars.
It's just dollars and peso.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what some friends in the Philippines say to me. Oh, maganda ba dyan? Is it good?
Yeah.
I said to you, do you have a full-time job?
Yeah.
Do you have a roof over your head?
Yeah.
Do you have nannies? Do you have servants? Do you have a car? Well, you know what? We don't do that here. My wife had to stop working, become a full-time mum, live on a single income to look after the kids, because childcare is totally, we don't have relatives to look after them and stuff like that. And so if you're there and you're in the Philippines and you're seeing your family every night, you don't have to go to Saudi to look after someone else's kid, or do whatever work. You're living a good life. So it's comparable, it's
Exactly.
not really.
I think, with all this talk, sometimes I can rabbit hole into these
I know, right?
These
Totally.
thoughts, right? Like, oh man. And then you try to figure out the world problems.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, it's just like, I have to start with myself. I have to start with my home. I can only fix what I can fix right now.
It's the man in the mirror thing, right? It's the man in the mirror, the Michael Jackson song. If you got to change.
I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
Yeah, exactly. It is so true, man. It's a great song.
Great song.
But it is so true, man. The mirror doesn't lie, man.
No.
The mirror doesn't lie. Just it's the reflection, right?
Exactly.
If you want to change, then you change that person in front of you.
Exactly.
Everything else will change, man.
100%.
I can't change my parents.
No.
I can't change my relatives, my sisters. I can't change them.
Yeah.
But I can change myself. And sometimes you need to say goodbye to those people.
Exactly.
To live your life.
Exactly.
So you can be less stressful.
Yeah. 100%.
I wish them all the best, but you know what I mean? Like, you have relatives like that. I wish them all the best, God bless you and whatnot. But you need to look after yourself, because at the end of the day, who else is there?
It's just you, man.
It's just you.
It's just you.
Yeah.
And I start to think of life as, we have this credit system, right? Let's say we have 100 points a day of energy that we can spend,
true.
right? And you spend 10 points talking to one friend, and then 20 points doing work, 30 points, 50 points talking to your missus, and then you got how much left for yourself, right? And it's about understanding how much can I spend and share to everyone else. And sometimes you really have to kind of remove those things in your life that aren't helping you get anywhere, or are taking so much of your energy that you just depletes you of zero instantly, So,
well, there's a quote from Tom Hopkins. It's a good sales trainer. And he's very old school. He's like, ABC, always be closing. Yeah. But anyways,
always be closing.
I read.
Always be closing.
Always be closing, right? But he said this in a book. He wrote this in a book. He's saying, you ask yourself this question: is what I'm doing right now getting me closer to my dreams and goals? Right. I think I butchered it. Sorry, Tom. It's something along those lines, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Is what I'm doing, and with me, man, is looking at Instagram going to get me closer to my dreams and goals. I'm guilty of this, man. I look and send
100%.
reels to my wife and go, hey, look at this funny thing. But is it getting me closer to the thing? And so we got to be really mindful on that energy system that you've got. And so, we got 82,000 or 86,000 seconds a day. Yeah. And those seconds, that 60 seconds gone, man. Oh man. Yeah. And we have to sleep.
And that's what, 8 to 10 hours a day, right? We have to sleep.
We have to eat. We have to do these things. We got to do it. And so we got to really be mindful of the time that we spend.
100%. And I think I'm only realizing that even more now as I moved out of my home and living with my partner and really being in adulthood. Like, your time is very valuable. It's so precious, and especially if you're trying to pursue something and chase your dreams. Like, there's only so much that you can give to other people.
That's right.
Because if you're not like you said, if you don't, going towards where you're going, like it's just wasted energy.
Yeah.
Right. So I think especially for high performers like yourself, you need to have those disciplines and foundations in place as well. Look, going back to the Philippines, man. I don't know if have you been watching the FIFA World Cup?
Oh man, I love it, man.
Yeah,
I love it.
Did you watch Philippines versus Switzerland?
Oh no, that one I did not miss. I missed that one.
Man.
But how good is it though?
It was amazing to
highlights.
see Philippines, their first World Cup, and to be there. My heart was like, wow, is this what representation feels like? To see your country on the world stage,
That's it.
battling it out with all these experienced, amazing soccer teams. And they did very well. Yeah. They scored the first goal. Unfortunately, it got retracted because of
offside.
I was like, bro, when that goal happened, I was like, yeah. I was so pumped. And then I saw it got retracted. I was like, no. Yeah. But they did amazing.
But that's good. That's a good step. I mean, I've always said this. I mean, everyone knows that I'm a basketball tragic. I love basketball.
Yeah. Me too,
but I think soccer or football, if we get that in the grassroots level in the Philippines, give it 20, 30 years, we can be in the top 20.
100%.
Right?
Dude, like
that sport is built for us.
You reckon?
If you think about it.
Really?
You just need space. Like, you got to be agile. You got to be creative.
Yeah.
You got to be able to create, have descarte. You got to have the IQ thing. So I think we can do that because at basketball, we get beat every time.
We get beat every time, man. We get wrecked.
We get wrecked.
One thing I noticed about the Switzerland versus Philippines, man, the Swiss were way bigger and taller than us.
Tall, man.
And they were way more athletic.
100%.
But it shows with their experience, right? You looked at the Philippine team and they were just clumped up, clustered, and some of them didn't know where to go.
Well, they had a short training period, though. I mean, the coach has done well to get them match fit.
Very well.
Match fit. Well. But at the end of the day, these girls have been playing under 12s, under 6.
Some of them were playing for PSG.
Yeah.
And, bro, like we had one person play for University in USA. It was different levels, man.
But there's the grassroots, and that's where it comes in. That's the problem. But I think given the right chance, I mean, think about it. Filipinos, man. I was talking about this the other day with someone. I said, a Filipino given a chance, they will flourish anywhere.
Yeah.
Look at Dubai.
Yeah.
Dubai, they were just given an opportunity to work and think, no, look at Dubai. That was built by Filipinos and Indians.
Really?
Think about it. All the workers, man. All the construction, all the hospitality, all the architects, all that stuff. That's built from labor from overseas. And so just given a chance, they can build it.
100%. And, when was the last time you went to Philippines?
Last December. Yeah. We go every Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. I was there in May, and just to see it, this conversation came up as well. And it came up from a story of a friend who was talking to a foreigner. It's like, oh man, they work so hard. And I'm like, bro, of course they have to work so hard because they got nothing else. Yeah. Right? They got to work like this is the last thing they're going to ever do.
That's it.
Right? And it's like what you're saying, Filipinos flourish in anything they do. Do you think it comes from that tenacity to work hard and just put everything they can into what they're doing?
That's right. Yeah. 100%. There's a lot of people relying on you. I mean, some, but but some is more, okay, this is what I need to do. This is what has to happen. Yeah. And so I think just given a chance, I mean, there are a few that are lazy. They don't want to work. But that's every culture. Yeah. Right. But the top 5%ers that really want to flourish and do it, man, they get there. Yeah. They will. They will. And it comes with anyone who, persevere and puts in the effort and the time, like you're going to get there eventually. Exactly. Or you hope so. Yeah. But if you don't, you hope to get something that you can use in another thing. Exactly. Right? So that's what I say with myself. So I'm full-time in Okiru right now. Yep, good. And it's a very big risk because there's no financial certainty. But anyone I talk to, anyone I tell them, like, dude, there's no certainty in this. But in a couple of years, if things don't go as well as they're supposed to, I will come out of this better because I'm going to gain skills that will help me go to something else. That's right. Right? So I think you just really have to have those disciplines, going back to the things and remembering, where am I going? What do I want to do? That's right. Right. It doesn't mean I don't believe this is going to happen. Like, man, I have so much faith and belief in what we're doing. But it's like,
there's going to be something beautiful that will come out of this journey.
Well, I'm glad that you burnt the boats, man. I'm glad that you burnt the boats.
And sometimes
if you know
you
what I
do.
mean. You got to do it because you can't hokey pokey this thing.
Yeah.
You're 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Exactly.
You gotta go all in, man. Like
100%.
all in.
Yeah,
because that's the only way it's gonna work.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And but the thing is, like, I tell this to everyone, it's not for everyone to take that risk to leap into it straight away because there's a lot of things, there's a lot of sacrifices, there are a lot of other things that you have to think about. But yeah, I'm just in a better position than anyone else, and that's the way I say it. Look, I'm very, very lucky, very privileged to have what I have, but yeah, it's just having that belief as well, that hope.
Oh, you got to surround yourself with the right people too.
Oh, 100%. These boys are amazing.
You got to, because if you have someone, with doubt that's in your ear, man, you're not gonna try it.
100%. And sometimes it's that voice, man. It's your own voice.
Yeah, you try to block him out, but once in a while something comes in. Like, oh man. Can I really do this? Can I really do this?
Exactly.
Who am I to do this?
Yeah.
That's the spiral, man. That's the
100%. And I've dealt with that self-doubt and the imposter syndrome and sometimes it comes every day. Yeah. For myself, like, it looks weird, especially if you're driving next to me, if you reach a traffic light. I'm just talking to myself, man. Yeah. So
you're having your own confidence.
I'm having my own confidence. I talk to myself. The way I put it, I was telling this to my partner, is the voice you have to talk to the most is the one inside.
Exactly.
Because imagine it like this. All right, put yourself in a room. There's two people in the room. It's you and someone else. Imagine that person is trying to talk to you, but you're just completely ignoring them. Yeah. That's your voice in your head. So you have to be willing to have those conversations with it. Check up on it. And just check, hey, like, how you doing? Look in the mirror, like, hey, how you doing? Are you feeling all right? So I think it's important to do those things that everyone else would think, oh, dude, that sounds so stupid, right? So what about yourself? Do you have any practices that you do to help you overcome and mitigate the self-doubt or imposter syndrome?
Oh, man. Imposter syndrome. I had plenty of that imposter syndrome because when I first started doing all this stuff, man, I was like, who am I? Who am I to do this? What can I do? A lot of self-doubt because people would say, oh, you're not as smart as your sister. You're not as the idiot. This. Why would you think you can talk to hundreds and thousands of people, blah, 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 right? I just acted as if. So I just started acting as if. So how would a person who's confident, certain and courageous would act? Yeah. And so every time I'd get into a meeting or get into a selling situation or a scenario, I just picture myself and act as if. So I would stand different. I would talk different. I would watch someone. Okay, so that guy is confident, and how does he do it? Yeah. So I started modeling and seeing things, and it's like I started getting bits from here, bits from there, like in hip hop, sampling until I get my own thing. I'm thinking, okay, cool. All right, this is what I need to do. So that person talks like that. The gesture is this way, this, that. And I acted as if until I became that. Yeah. Do you have a persona for yourself or an alter ego that kicks in when you get into those situations? Not an alter ego, but all of a sudden I just switch. I go, I've been in this situation before. Yeah. And because people have patterns, right? Of course. People have patterns. And so I know what person's going to do, what they're going to say and so forth. So I just I could easily quickly change and shift to something. Yeah. And obviously you got to build rapport first and trying to do all that. And what I do is I just go with the flow. Yeah. Because if I try and manipulate a conversation or a scenario, they're going to go, oh, this guy's trying to get something out of it. Out of it. Yeah, and they can sniff it out. Right? Yeah. You don't want to be that sneaky, snake oil salesman kind of talk when you're talking with people. And so with me, it's just I want to find out what they want. And if there is a need for something, then I go on. And if something I can do, then I would do it. But if there isn't, I would walk away. Yeah. And say, hey, I met a new friend. Yeah. And so, What about you? Do you have something that you do or? Yeah, actually, finally you say that. So recently, it's hard for me to switch instantly. So I saw this post and I've heard about this, having your own avatars and alter egos. That's good. And I created one for myself. So it starts with a few questions like,
what do you want? Who do you aspire to be? What are the qualities you want to have? What don't you want to do? What things do you want to avoid? Those type of questions. And then you answer them. And then you start off by picking one point from each of those questions.
Yep.
And then now you have a baseline of what kind of character you want to be.
Yep.
And then you start to think, all right, who are people that represents these points? So for me, it was like Kobe Bryant. I want to be someone who's fearless and doesn't doubt themselves. And then it could be like David Goggins. That guy's like the hardest mother person on the earth.
Definitely.
But then I was like, oh, those are literal people. So I was just like challenging myself, like, who's someone that has all these personalities? And I've been watching anime One Piece recently. And I was like, oh man, Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy. I'm like, all right, this guy, I want to be like this guy. He doesn't care about anything else but pursuing the dream. No matter what happens, it's like, I care about getting to my dream and I care about my friends. And I was like, dude, I want to be that person. I'm a leader. I care about my people around me and I want to get to the Grand Line, the One Piece, that's my dream. And then once you have that, you have these personalities, you have an idea of who you want to be. And then you put a name for that for yourself.
Nice.
So for me, it's Lawrence Juice Bar. So Lawrence.
I get it. Okay.
So when I want to trigger this person who has no doubt, confident and is confident in who they are, I'm like, I'm Lawrence Juice Bar. And to activate that, I'm like, all right, I'll work your self-doubt, find the juice and start juicing. And I'm like, bam, I'm in there. I'm going, I'm starting to work. I have no doubt. I'm just doing whatever. And when I did that, because before that time, I was going through self-doubt. I felt so lost. I was struggling to do work. I was struggling to be motivated. And I wrote all these things down. I did it. And that day, I was just in the flow state.
Man. That's beautiful.
Me,
I teach my kids that. I teach my athletes that.
Really?
It's anchoring, right?
Anchoring, yes.
Anchoring. And so I do this process with athletes and I do it with my kids.
Yeah.
And you just get them to have anchors. So they get into that state when exactly like that, right? And so when my daughter, before she fights in Taekwondo, she gets into state.
Yes.
Like you do something, right? You do a physical act, like when Manny Pacquiao, he does the he's anchoring.
Yeah.
Rafael Nadal, before he serves, he does all the.
There's a ritual. There's a routine.
There's a routine, and so what happens is your subconscious goes and go, "Oh, I'm going to do this," and things like that. And so with my son as well, when he's shooting a free throw, he has a routine and a self-talk, and that's exactly like that, man. And that works.
It works
really
man.
well, man.
It works, man.
It really works.
You have to put a name behind it, like Black Mamba. When Kobe Bryant, Black Mamba, he's just gonna
Black Mamba mode.
Black Mamba mode, man. And then there's David Goggins. He's like Goggins, David Goggins, like when Goggins comes out, like he's just whatever, man. He's just going. He doesn't give a crap about anything else about what he's doing. So those things really help for me. So is there anything, before we wrap up, is there anything that any advice or any tips that you want to share to young people out there trying to do something for themselves or want to grow and be better?
Yeah, definitely. First is know what you want.
Yeah.
Know what you want. What is it that you want to do? I mean, the good book says, the Bible says, without vision, people perish, right?
Yeah.
And so if you don't have a vision for where you want to be in 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, you need to have that. You need to know that. And so first have a vision.
Yep.
All right. And the other thing is write down what you want.
Yep.
So if you have a vision, write it down.
Yeah.
And give yourself a timeline. From there, from the timeline, what I call the hit list, right? List. Find people who've been successful in that field. So whether it be a career, whether it be in health, find someone who you can be mentored by, and either by physically mentored or read their works.
Yeah,
it's easy now. Back in the 90s, it was hard.
Yeah.
There was no YouTube. I couldn't find someone's mentality.
Yeah,
I have to read books and borrow books and buy books and do all these stuff.
Exactly.
And so now it's easier with all the information that we're getting now. And so find that model success.
Yep.
And that's it. And repeat and just be disciplined with it. It's not the it's like what Bruce Lee said, it's not the 10,000 kicks, right? Don't be afraid of the man who knows 10,000 kicks practice once. You be careful of be afraid of the person who's got, one kick and practice 10,000 times. So just be disciplined with it, with all that stuff. Repeat.
Yeah, 100%.
That's all you do, because success is out there for all of us, whatever it looks like for us. You got to find the right person, the right people to lift you up and get you to that stage.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So,
wow.
Does that make sense, man?
I love it. That was great. All right, let's wrap this up with the three questions.
Okay, go.
So question number one, what are you grateful for?
My wife and kids. Yeah.
Amazing. Question number two, what have you realized?
What have I realized? That the power is in me.
Yeah.
That I can create and manifest things that I want in my life.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Last one. What is the question you ask yourself?
What question that I ask myself?
Yeah.
Where did I leave my glasses? No, the question that I ask myself is what I'm doing, exactly what Tom Hopkins, is what I'm doing right now going to help me with my dreams and goals?
Beautiful.
Always ask that. Yeah.
Amazing. All right, Thad, thank you so much for joining us in this conversation.
Thank you, man.
This was amazing, man. I loved it.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can have you back again.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Yeah.
I'm sure we have a lot to talk about, bro.
Man, 100%.
Where can people find you and how can they support you?
There's a Firm Focus podcast on Spotify. I did have a website, but it's still getting redone. You can find me on Instagram, Thad Mangalino.
Yeah.
And also for the Philippine Times.
Yeah.
I write for the Philippine Times and philtimes.com.au.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother. It was amazing to have you here today, especially on a Sunday.
Easy done, man.
All right, awesome stuff. All right, guys. We hope you found value in this podcast. Always stay safe, always take care, and always get up. Peace.